Welcome back to AIM Chemistry, Learn Chemistry with Dr. Poonam. Students, what makes acid strong or weak? Here we are mainly focused on, it is not about concentration. What makes acid strong or weak? Let's get started. The strength of acid is not about how concentrated it is, but how well it ionizes in water. How well it will dissociate in water, how it gets separated into its ions. Take a simple example, that is HCl in aqueous solution. When we put it in water, this is acid, so it is, as we know that in previous class we already discussed that this is proton donor, so it will separate into its ion H plus and Cl minus. So this complete procedure, this is called as ionization, or again it is called as dissociation, or in a very simple word students, you can say separation. When there is a complete separation of acid or base into its ion, that time we call it as a strong acid. This acid is strong acid because this is completely ionizing, completely separating into its own ions. So let's see. If you see students here, this is a visual presentation where you can say that when we are pouring HCl in water, that time HCl is getting separated into H plus Cl minus ion, and there is a complete ionization or complete dissociation. So such a type of acid is called as strong acid. There are different examples like a hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid. So such examples are of strong acid. Please note down students the definition of strong acid. Pause video and note down. Now, next to it, this is about strong acid. Now, I will discuss about weak acid. Weak acid or weak base, the similar concept is there. So let's look at ethanoic acid. As we all know, formula of ethanoic acid, CH₃COOH. So now student, this ethanoic acid, again it is in aqueous form, so it will dissociate into CH₃COOH minus when we pour into water plus H plus. There is also, as it is acid, as I am saying it is acid, so there will be dissociation, there will be ionization, but student, interesting fact is that there is incomplete dissociation, there is incomplete ionization. Separation of ions are there, but that will be not completely, or we call it as partial ionization. So students, you can see here, if you take example of, as we took example of acetic acid, so when we pour this acetic acid in water, that time it gets separated into acetate ion and hydrogen ion, but at the same time you will find some undissociated form of acetic acid, means this dissociation is not complete. And when this type of dissociation takes place, that type of acid we called weak acid. So acid will dissociate partially in water. So this is about students strong acid and weak acid. Now here we have some key points to discuss. Points, that is strong acid and weak acid. So student, see, The strength of acid. Here we discussed strength of acids. So strength of acid is mainly depend upon how it ionize or how it separate into its ions. So when I say strong acid, that time ionization will be complete. So complete ionization. And when there is a complete ionization, students, we call it as a strong proton donor. They are strong proton donor. They can easily, strong acid can easily donate proton. And here if you want to note down points, incomplete dissociation or ionization, incomplete ionization, and they are poor proton donors because weak acid doesn't allow to dissociate completely, and that's why we call them poor proton donor. And the very important point, student, because by visually you cannot tell me this acid is strong or weak, so we need some experimental evidences. So that experimental evidences we get it from the one term, that is dissociation constant. That is dissociation constant of acid, we noted by letter Ka. So this term is maybe new for you, but in grade 11 last unit we were having this term dissociation constant. So dissociation constant is an equilibrium constant for acid, and if it is Kb, it's a dissociation constant for base. So student, when there is a high value, when the value of Ka is high Ka value, that time acid is strong acid. And when, student, value for Ka is low, that time we call it weak acid. So how to find out these values or how we compare? So in next video we will discuss in detail, where we are going to discuss about pH of weak acid, strong acid and strong bases. So that time we are going to discuss about what is meant by Ka, pKa and ionization constant of water. So student, these are the key points. I thought you noted down everything. So student, always remember one thing: strength depends on ionization, not on concentration. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more chemistry lessons. See you next time, student. Thank you very much.